Welcome back, everybody, to game number 2 between Ninjas in Pajamas and Alliance after what was a 74-minute game.
It was long, but it didn't feel that long.
No,
it felt like
very
a 40-minute
action-packed.
game. Yeah. I was pretty excited with how both teams performed.
Yeah, I think that was, simply put, Alliance just fell behind a bit early on. Couldn't really, like, the Slardar just was never... I mean, he did well on the Slardar, considering the fact he had no items, but he never had any net worth progression. So considering the fact that they never had the Slardar essentially be a semi-carry to any kind of... Like, he was basically a stun and amplified damage, right?
Yeah.
Because they didn't have that semi-carry, they were always kind of a behind. But Alliance played fantastically in those team fights, enough so that they managed to push the game to 74 minutes.
Oh, for sure. The fact that that went long in that first place was kind of ridiculous, but we're all the way, almost halfway, or like a quarter of the way through the draft right now, and that, to me, is super exciting just because you see Alliance, they do get the Treant, but at the same time, I mean, you're giving up the Chen, which NIP are very... You know, any tier 1 team really runs this hero as a top-level hero.
You do not give the Chen to the Swedes.
Yeah.
Essentially is what it comes down to.
Or
you don't give it to
EG.
Alliance. You don't give it to Ninjas in Pajamas.
Yeah, there's so many teams that you just don't want to give the Chen to.
Yeah,
because he
EG
runs away.
especially.
Yeah, he runs away with the game. Like you can set up for so much around the map. Taking towers and going high ground with this hero suddenly becomes 10 times easier. Roshanning, you just use his creeps as a buffer. There's just so many things that this hero can do that you can't really account for.
Right. So the Train Protector Phoenix is a 1-2 for Alliance. A bit interesting that they don't actually go for the SF. I would have figured Train Protector SF would have been your kind of go-to, but suppose the combination with the Phoenix is just so strong, plus the Troll's already out of the pool, gives you a bit more incentive for that pickup as well.
For sure. And Phoenix Tree, really good combination, as we've talked about before. This is something that we see. We saw EG run a lot at DAC, and now Mad seems to have fallen in love with the concept as well. His tree obviously isn't like Peter's, where the farm priority is actually given heavily to him. Like they give the farm priority to the tree. If you'll notice, like in the mid game, Mad will just take the safe lane, or he'll go to a different section of the map where the action is and just farm. And we saw the usefulness of that Aghanim's tree. Like Alliance had only like one position they could fight in because of the fact that there was permanent map hack in their jungle.
Yeah, it was pretty much like you fight around your base or you go for smokes.
Yeah.
Like that, those were the only two options for Alliance. Their second set of bans coming out is going to be the Luna and Dro Ranger, taken out by Ninjas in Pajamas, who've taken away both of these squishy agility pushers. In that regard, kind of glass cannon style, heavy physical damage. Pretty known for being run with push lineups. Is that simply because the Phoenix is so strong in team fights that you feel like you're a bit afraid of Alliance establishing, you know, a 5-man push lineup in ways?
I think Luna's just good against or with Alliance's lineup because of the tree lockdown and the Phoenix lockdown. Okay. It takes too much to get to those heroes. Same with the Dro Ranger, right? Like those are both heroes that you would typically think of as glass cannons that don't really have a way to protect themselves. But once you give glass cannons a way to protect themselves, then things get difficult. And I think it's also a response to the fact that Alliance often like to pick Pycat some sort of mid hero that can go for DPS. And if you give a hero like Wind Ranger or whatever range hero that he normally plays a drawer as well, then things become real difficult to lane against. And that actually might be a core Lina.
It's Pycat?
That's a Pycat hero.
He's, yeah, that is definitely a Pycat hero. So a Lina mid most likely, may still be a support, but seems a bit unlikely, especially up against the Juggernaut, right? Lina super efficient versus, I mean, nothing's really a good counter to Troll, but I would say that Lina's pure damage is really nice versus the Troll Juggernaut. Juggernaut especially, right? Troll has better strength gain than most other agility heroes. In fact, he has a better strength gain than some strength heroes. So in that regard, he's decently tanky, but the Juggernaut doesn't have so good. Right, he's actually going to be fairly squishy, very reliant on Omni Slash and his Blade Fury, which leaves him very exposed to that burst pure damage.
There's still an axe available for NIP, which I think is actually really good against the heroes that Alliance have as well, just for initiating on heroes like Lina, the Phoenix as well. And I think it'd be, I mean, axe is so good against Drug as well, right? You just initiate on him and Well, is there anything Axe is really terrible against? Like, is there ever a situation where Axe is a bad hero, Cap?
I mean, I don't think so, mainly because he's such a strong initiator, right?
Yeah.
Even if you have, like, a whole bunch of team fight lineup, you're still good if you get the right call. If you're going up against, like, certain heroes like Necrophos or something that really abuse the supposed, like, higher amount of HP you're supposed to have, it doesn't really matter. I would say he's not good. No, he's even good versus magic immune heroes because you managed to get the call.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, you're so reliant on your blade mail oftentimes, but that's not even true. I was thinking like Lifestealer, right? Like Rage plus the fact you have Feast, it outdoes the spin damage.
But if you Blink's call on the Lifestealer, you can blow him up so quickly.
Yeah. But you still have control, and that's the important thing from the Axes. Even if your damage isn't, you know, actually viable in the game, your controls pretty much always is.
We actually saw so many support Linas over the weekend. We saw EG especially run it frequently, but I don't know if this is going to be the case this game just because of the fact that they have a tree and you don't have the best way to set up this Lina stun, and she's quite a greedy hero in general.
I think this gives more incentive to the Axe, 100%. I really like this pickup. I mean, you now have a Bristleback as a one-position farmer for Alliance, unless could this be a support Phoenix? This could, right?
Yeah, you can run it as a support.
It would just be a complete lack of disables, though.
Yeah, that's the only thing. You could run dual lanes, and that might actually be the option that Alliance opt to take. And that could actually be a core Bristleback as well. We never know. Like, they could just run Bristle as a safe lane.
Yeah, I just assumed it was a one-position Bristleback to start with, but you're right. It could be like Phoenix Bristle as a dual off lane.
You could do Bristle. Yeah, you could do Bristle as a 1, Phoenix as your offlaner, and then Tree +1 support as your safe lane. I think that'll be real likely.
That's what Nip think it is, because they ban away the Lion.
Yeah.
So they ban away another support. But again, I can't say enough. Like, the Axe, he's such a good counter versus the Bristleback. I mean, if this was Alliance playing right now, I would say, you know, Legion Commander. But Nip, I don't think I've ever seen them run Legion Commander. Axe is by far, like you already said, it's a pretty good hero. But then versus the Bristleback, any hero that makes you turn and fight, that kind of disable is going to be perfect.
So the Leshrac picked up by Alliance. It's a good hero. It clears out stuff too. It's got a lot of AoE. You have a way to dance and fight around the Chen. And the only thing is that you don't have the most reliable stun, but because Lina's going to get a Yule Scepter as the first item anyways, it's probably perfectly fine. And the Lina versus Yule, or the Lina versus Yule, so the Lina versus Storm matchup too is heavily in favor of Lina, and he's got tree armor as well. But Magnus is the last pick.
So that'll give us a nice big AoE control. Not quite the Magnus. It's the Axe's Call is the mini RP. We're going to get the true real RP out of you and some fun on the Magnus.
Yeah, and again, NIP. This time, though, they have more ways to initiate than they normally do. You've got the Storm and the Magnus. Not the most reliable to rely on a Magnus just because he's got to get his Blink Dagger before he can do anything. But still, and they've got Seal Kid's got the Disruptors or the Glimpse as well. But Alliance, not a whole lot of reliable stuns. But if they can make this lineup work, and this is kind of a greedy lineup, they could just run over NIP.
Yeah, most certainly with the Ake Leshrac is by far the greediest part of their lineup, right?
Yeah.
It's going for you could have had a Rubik or some sort of like guaranteed stun versus the Storm Spirit, but instead you choose for an AoE unreliable stun, which may end up biting you in the ass later on if you need some extra control versus that Storm. It's going to be primarily on the Lina's farm then. Again, there's always pressure on that mid lane. But I would say there's even more pressure because the Yule Scepter is the only way to ensure that guaranteed stun. Right? So Lina has to do well in her lane. Fortunately, though, Ninjas and Pajamas, well, actually they do have some rotational heroes, primarily in the Chen. Disruptor, not known to be great at rotating to lanes, maybe at level 3 or 4, but for the most part, he is going to be staying in his lane, so maybe the Chen can shut down Pycat.
Yeah, and that's what you're actually relying on is this Chen. I mean, there's two ways of to play the Chen, and it looks like NIP are going to secure this top rune for Limp, and at bottom, Nikwa manages to get it on the Phoenix, and they might just do dual lanes, but there's two ways to play the Chen here. Either you play it super defensively and just farm up a really quick mech that we've seen before. I think it was Puppy that did that. Or you can just get incredibly aggressive on the map and try to win the other lanes for your team. And Alliance actually managed to sneak in a ward into their jungle as well. And Hanskin, he does have the sentry ward, but I don't think he's going to know that this is here right now. And this might actually just block the first camp. And Hanskin's going to check right now and be disappointed.
Yeah, big loss. And now is, where is he going to play? Yeah, he goes for this ward spot. But he doesn't
can't guess wrong
find it.
again. He has to find it with the second one. He does place the sentry. Does it give vision? Yes.
Yep. He sees it.
He should know this. Oh,
what?
Okay.
There you go, Hanskin.
I think
he had his
clicked
screen
off.
up here. Yeah. He didn't see it. So, how's this bottom lane engagement going? Nikwa and Mad versus Era's Juggernaut, and they have the Disruptor sitting behind him as well. This should be a pretty good lane. I like this dual lane quite a bit. It adds in a lot of necessity. Like, Phoenix is one of those offlaners you have to make the offlane work, right? And you're also really weak at level 1. So even if Mad wants to rotate out, just getting Nikwa to level 3, I think, is a serious boon to the Phoenix.
Yeah, we saw this lane actually a lot too in various tournaments. I think we saw it at DAC, we saw it at MLG as well.
Uh-oh, Hellbear Smash! And now Mad's going to be run down by Era. This is going to be your first blood, unless Mad... Nope, he's not going to get out of range of that one. Nikwa is going to be forced to go for the dive here. Seal Kid does not have anything to control him. And Nikwa actually doesn't have to dive, so he keeps that escape mechanism intact.
Yeah, and he doesn't even have to use the dive there, but still, a first kill goes to Era, who has been contested. I mean, yeah, you're pleased with that, but at the same time, you absolutely needed that kill just because of how much your farm has been contested. Like, I think you would prefer to have 12 CS, right, than just getting the first blood and having 3.
Right.
So, still, a good contest by NIP to get in there. It's actually going to make them play just a little bit more safe. And so that's really good. And it looks like this Chen, I mean, getting aggressive early on, has to save this lane here.
Like Jonas and Vaughn is fighting Loda every step of the way, it seems, in this top lane. He's getting, he's got what, 3 and 3, not bad. Getting 3 different denies up against Loda. He could probably pick up a fast bottle if he wants to at this rate. 400 gold should seem well on his way to it. Ake focusing more on pulling and keeping the wave back instead of trying to zone out that Rhinoceros. Storm Spirits in the mid lane going up against the Lina means that Lina should come out ahead 13 and 3 CS-wise. It seems Pycat is meeting expectations.
Yeah, and this is just a lane that Storm really struggles in, and what I'd actually expect is sometime around 5 is for him to just farm out the jungle, because it's just too difficult for him to stay in a one-on-one situation against Alina, especially if she hits the level advantage, because look, she can just throw down the stun. It's hard for Storm to avoid just because his move speed is so low. Like, if that's a Skywrath mid for whatever reason, then it becomes more difficult. But because it's a Storm with 290 move speed, it becomes really easy for Lina to set it up on the way back. But this gank attempt, it has to work right now, and they've got a troll as well to set up for it, and this is going to be huge if NIP can land this in gank attempt. And
they're going to go for the dive now, but Pycat
should know now.
Oh god, he's actually running straight into it. The living armor goes off, held in, glimpse back, right into Limp. The stun goes off, but Light Strike Array misses, and Pycat will die to the right click of Sealkud. Very good gank, as you said. It was necessary to free up room for the Storm Spirit to win this lane. And now, with that one gank, it sets Pycat far enough behind. The Storm Spirit will feel a lot more comfortable getting to his level 6 and will probably have a larger impact than Pycat in those first couple of rotations.
Yeah, and we just talked to amongst ourselves, like, what is this Lina or this Chen going to play in this type of role? And it looks like he's more content to open up the lane for his team. And I think this is the correct response, because in the Storm in a one-on-one situation obviously loses. This Juggernaut is going to struggle heavily against this Phoenix, who just throws down like fire spirits around the area, especially with getting this really quick Tranquil boost. I mean, he's got 18 CS already. That's actually massive. And if you take a look at the Juggernauts, it's not that much. He's actually much more ahead of the Jug.
Yeah, it really is.
What?
Pycat? No, I'm just looking at the fact that I'm wondering how this mid, if they're actually going to try and gank up Pycat again. Because at this point in time, like, going back to the whole Yule Scepter talk, right, where it's the best way for them to be able to hit stuns on the Storm Spirit, etc., I would like to see Hanskin just blow another smoke.
Yeah, and I think Limp's going to go on mid right now. He pops both of the bottle charges, but he realizes Pycat's level 6 right now.
Yeah, a bit too dangerous.
Yeah, if you get hit by the stun, if you're Limp, you're dead. If you can avoid the stun too, it's a little bit risky, because if the Lina has her nuke up on cooldown as well, at that point it becomes, can you dodge the Lina ult with your roll? Yeah. Like, are you that godly at guessing the reaction?
So 2-0. Nice and early start here for Ninjas in Pajamas. They're shutting down the CS of most of these heroes as well. As you can see, Era sitting at 20-6 compared to the 26-4 on Loda here in the top lane. 26-2 on the Storm Spirits. Pycat still ahead there. So even though they're down in 2 kills, I believe I said the wrong name, Alliance are doing better in the CS.
Yeah, and this is the
simply
flip
because
side.
of the pressure, right?
Yeah, this is the flip of what we saw last game.
It
But Dota's, I mean, it's a kill game, but at the same time, you need the CS to somewhat back it up. And look at Loda with a bottle, actually contesting the top rune, making absolute sure that they secure both runes and just kind of force the storm back. Really good rotation by him. And
Magnus also has a bottle as well. So
yeah, exactly.
That kind of contests him on top of that. So I like that rotation, even if it does set him back. Fortunately, he got a bounty rune, so it makes it a little bit worth it for him.
Yeah, he's about to hit 6-2, but at the same time, both offlaners, just because of the dual lanes, have had such a good time in this game. And
who do you think that really favors, though, the Magnus compared to the Phoenix?
I was just about to ask you. In terms of farm, it probably favors Mag, right? But in terms of levels, it probably favors Phoenix.
Right. You know some fun? Has to skewer away. Nice fake out there from Ake with the stun.
Yeah, forcing the skewer means he has to play really far back now. I mean, it probably favors...
I would say it favors the Magnus, right? Because you need levels and farm.
Exactly.
Whereas the Phoenix just needs levels.
But at the same time, the Phoenix is getting so much out, and what the more important thing is that he's slowing down this Juggernaut's farm so much. Whereas the Magnus, how do you really slow down a Bristleback's farm?
Yeah, you can't do anything about that. You could just try and get equal amount of farm. Skewer is up again. Ake comes in with a stun, misses that one. I think he tried to lead it with the skewer there.
Yeah.
But
he was trying to catch him like on the way down through it.
Wait, with that AoE stun, you don't actually stop the skewer though.
I think you might get stunned, but you don't stop the skewer.
Yeah, you just keep going.
Oh no, Seal Kid, he's been caught out in the jungle.
Yep. Oh, nice glimpse back, and that's actually going to kill the bird, but Seal Kid.
Oh, he's
one last right click from oh my god, he couldn't actually be in raid. Whoa!
Oh, he throws down the
not good enough.
This might actually mean if Mad, no, he's still in the jungle.
Oh wow, really surprised Limp didn't make that jump onto the Phoenix.
Yeah.
They knew he didn't have dive. They also know he doesn't have fire spirits. There's nothing that the Phoenix can do.
Yeah, actually, that was a little bit surprising just because that should have been a free kill, but Seal Kid gets out with his life. Maybe he was just afraid that more heroes were, behind him, but at the same time...
yeah, I mean, it is true. Ake was off map at that time. He came all the way down to the bottom lane,
and if you get stunned up, and then the Lina happens to go there and you don't notice her because you're going on the Phoenix, then things get a little bit dicey, and maybe it was a miscommunication too. Maybe it wasn't communicated that the Phoenix had used the dive. Because if you look at the Storm, he doesn't have a single level of pull.
True.
Yeah, so maybe he just thought he was making the smart play there.
They're 3-3 against each other.
Oh yeah, you said there was 9 Swedish players, but it's not.
Yeah,
I forgot that
it's
Matt is French.
I said 9 Swedish players.
Wait, no, but Nick was not Swedish.
Oh, Nick isn't Swedish?
Yeah, he's Finnish.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I knew that. Loda, well, he got pretty lucky there. He got an extra Quill Spray, but is that going to be enough? Jonas is hit by the stun this time around.
Oh, they actually went back for a second, but he's dead.
He got off the one. They really thought they got the kill, but they end up killing him 2-1 now. Yeah, that's what it is. The D2CL guy, the D2CL Twitter guy, who does amazing graphics, but he said 9 Swedes.
Maybe he is Swedish. He lives there, but he's from Finland. I think that might be what it's from. Cause
yeah, I've seen the flag on the equip before, so.
Oh, so it was Finnish?
I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe we're just wrong.
Who cares?
Let's check joindota.com, guys.
Maybe joindota.com, spelled Joindota.
Go ahead and put that into your browser and hit the enter
button. If you just
button.
take a look really quick, no product placement meant here.
Here on the joindota.com stream.
Yeah, if you just take a look at this Join Dota hosted game right now, you'll see that NIP are in an okay position in terms of kills. They're up 2-1, and actually, the really surprising thing is that somehow Era has leapfrogged over Loda in terms of CS, and actually they're bringing him down at bottom. Yeah, it hits through the spin.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm watching this kill on Magnus. I know he's dead, is he's going to be stunned up by Ake. He's still got the skewer ready to go, but he can't really find an opening. Or maybe he does. He's trying to get ahead. Away, RP out. Can he actually get away with the Chen healed? Skewer away, and he gets away. Limp now comes in, trying to offset this, but Loda's too tanky. The rest of the heroes healthy enough. He cannot go for them. And somehow that RP ends up being worth it.
Yeah, Limp actually thought about rolling in, but doesn't know what's there. And what's there is an Invis Pycat right now. Don't want to initiate on that. And goes okay right now for NIP is they're able to catch out
so was that
Phoenix at the
slash?
bottom. No, you can spin through the egg and it counts as a hit.
Oh, okay.
Like if you're clicking on top of him as well. And
yeah, I didn't actually see what happened because I was.
Oh yeah, he threw down the egg and didn't expect. You know, he was what's his name? Arrow was fire spirited, so he thought he could get the egg off and maybe get away. But you can spin, it counts as a hit.
Yeah. And soon to be Mask of Madness will make that job even tougher for the Phoenix Bird. Right now we do have the Juggernaut at top of the net worth board, saying it's about 11 minutes in. Time to look at that. 5,500 lead for him, a good 1,000 gold ahead of the Lina, who's in second place.
Yeah, you expect the Lina, honestly, to be ahead. It's just the nature of the hero to win mid lanes, as we saw when Limp played it as well. He dominated the sniper in terms of the last hits, because your nuke, it'll most likely hit just because of how far Dragon Slave goes, on top of the fact that it's just one of the better CSing skills for mana cost and how much damage it does.
Especially with the they upgraded, right? It used to be 280, and now it's 320, which means it one-shots the range creep.
Yeah, it's really strong.
So that makes a pretty significant difference. Because it used to be, like, any ability that you spam out like that, it used to be that you would just always get the deny on the range creep if you were on the other side.
You'd have to hit the range creep once. That's how it works for Storm as well. You have to hit the range creep simultaneously as you throw down the Remnant charge. But sneak Roshan attempt by NIP, and this is a good one too, just because of the fact that the timing works out so that only the bottom tower has been taken, and this should be relatively unexpected.
Oh, Nico actually read that one.
He checks.
Nice check there, and he's actually going to slow him down with the Fire Spirits. The rest of the team is coming in from the side. Alliance.
Storm doesn't have mana either. This could actually be okay.
Very bad for...
Alliance are actually smoked up too, and NIP might have just given them a free Aegis.
Yeah, they're going to have the Phoenix Egg go off. He's trying to buy as much time as possible for the rest of the Alliance to come in. They're actually running straight down the river. This is not good. Dionis of Fun. He's actually going to play bowling now. Hits 2 pins. Hits the RP now with the Omni Slash ripping through. They've taken out 1-2. Alliance. Oh, they just got destroyed there. Baited in by their own Phoenix, it seems.
And Jonas of Fun. I mean, that RP, the fact that he caught the Lina out as well on the back end. Oh, no.
Lib.
He goes for it. Yeah, it's just the combination, the Chen one, but still really good. We thought for a second, well, I thought, I don't want to speak for you, that Alliance were actually going to dominate that fight, but they got outmaneuvered right there.
Yeah, I mean, they really did. The moment that I saw them not getting the Magnus here, and I was like, oh, their Phoenix is dead, and they don't get anything, and then they run into the choke point of the river with the Magnus coming in from behind. I'm just like, oh God. Right, it's like watching a traffic accident at that point. You know what's going to happen. And that is like the very minimum that's going to happen is a 2-man RP. There is actually potential for so much more when you're positioned in the river like that.
And now Alliance look like they're going to go for this Roshan attempt.
This is kind of scary. Ninjas of Pajamas. Era getting a bit low. Spin.
I think Alliance might actually be able to secure this.
Yeah, I think so. With the Roshan already down to 3k HP.
It's the HP too. It's just the fact that NIP took that fight and they couldn't run away, and so they had to stay around the area. And so if you look, I mean, Jonas Fan, they know for a fact he doesn't have the RP up. It's actually been so long that it's almost up.
Pretty ridiculous. Roshan will go down. Aegis grab the slow ball in from Limp. With the Chen, he actually gets a good amount of damage. Overgrowth onto Seal Kit. The heals go out, but not good enough. The nukes from Alliance do claim that 1 kill.
I'm surprised they did that. Right? I mean...
That they actually tried to contest?
I understand the whole Chen Storm thing, but sending in anybody else other than that point...
Felt a bit awkward, right? Yeah. If they wanted to do that, they should have done it sooner, but... doing it was probably a bad idea in the first place. They didn't have RP, they didn't have Omni Slash. Those are pretty potent abilities for the fight.
if NIP actually just went for farm there, they'd be in a perfectly good position. But they also waited for Alliance essentially to take it.
Right.
So they didn't really gain too much on top of that. Like, that could have been Jonas and Fan's time to just farm out, take the jungle out. Because you know Alliance are going to take that Roshan, like, 10 times out of 10. They know that RP's down, no Blink Dagger as well for, you know, you could do some shenanigans with Blink and skewering people on top of cliffs. But in that type of scenario, I feel like it's just split up and farm. Like, give up the Roshan, take the potential farm. Does it really matter if Alliance get an Aegis on a Bristleback who's going to be the last to die anyways?
I don't think so. Phoenix picked up the Midas. It's pretty early Midas for Phoenix. But then again, he did have the dual lane. So he had a lot more lane security early on than most Phoenixes do. So I would say a pre-20-minute Midas for a Phoenix is always good timing.
Yeah, Net. I think so too. 16 minutes is a really good time. It doesn't really matter when you get it because you're going to get Trinkles and most likely a wand or something like an urn anyways first. So getting it a little bit delayed is okay. It's just the fact that you get one for the experience. Like, the gold part, making up the gold of it doesn't even matter that much. It's just, you need levels on a Phoenix.
Yeah. The hardest levels, level 9 and 10, are so hard to get over that mountain of experience that you need.
Yeah.
But the Midas makes it so much easier. Because it's such a big difference between the level 1 and level 2 egg.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Level one egg you can actually take out with one hero. Level 2 you need more than one.
Yeah. The other side of it too is just the fact that it's hard as a Phoenix player to get levels because you're not gonna have the jungle open and you don't have the flash farming like Jonas and Fan has with just nuking down waves.
Yeah, and it's a build-up effect, right? Like, you get to a level 11, more likely you get the supernova off and you don't die. If you get the supernova off, chances are you survive as a Phoenix, right? I mean, that's just such a... Either you live or the stun wins the fight so hard that you actually get additional kills. So, and it's just this build-up. The longer you live, more likely you're going to be able to get to level 16. Era. They actually saw him with the Treant Protector, but doesn't look like they're going to be able to claim anything out of this. Alliance are very aggressively trying to force the fight onto Nip, but Nip just playing the dodge game for now.
Loda getting some farm. Looks like an S and Y. Yep, he's got it on the courier, and it looks like both point boosters picked up by Alliance as well. I thought for a second, I was like, that looks weird, because there's a point booster and an Overvenom, but... That was just Lotus to be able to zone out the Magnus, and the Magnus actually has Blink Dagger, so even with this Aegis, don't overplay your positioning if you're Alliance. Like, you have to be somewhat worried about the RP.
Whoa, Ball Lightning jump 4. Limp was actually trying to get Pycat? What? Why would he try and go for Pycat?
He would have just died.
Yeah, he would have been Yule Scepter, stunned up, and that doesn't seem like a good idea.
I think he was maybe actually just trying to get vision for the Disruptor to pull back and glimpse, and they can ult.
Yeah,
but
that actually
him going that far by himself, for a second it looked a bit weird, but NIP aren't able to hold their own top tower, but they do manage to get the mid earlier, so you're okay with that trade. The mid tier one's more valuable.
Certainly, certainly. There's more net worth on the Juggernaut with that 9K right now for Ninjas in Pajamas. Era's looking very, very farm. Do you finish out the SNY here for the Juggernaut, or do you actually go Manta? He's going Manta.
Yeah, I think Manta's the right choice here. It just...
Why do you think that is?
You need, I think rather than the SNY, you don't really need chase ability just because you have a Storm and a Magnus.
Right.
With a Disruptor. And I think the Manta allows you to farm out more aggressively. At the same time, it allows you to split push. And you have something to go high ground with as well.
Right. Okay, I guess for me, I was looking at more of the survivability of the SNY. Just because I'm still a bit afraid of him versus the Lina.
Yeah.
But I guess that makes sense.
So Bristleback pushes out the mid tower with the team behind him, and he does finish the Manta. He doesn't really need anything else. I mean, he's got the Empower coming on his way either from the Magnus.
Oh, he gets out of
actual
overgrowth
damage
too.
Oh yeah, that
was the one thing. I was looking for that one ability. I was like, Fire Spirits. Well, you already have Spin to deal with, right? But if there's Fire Spirits and Overgrowth, then Manta is what you need to get out of that.
Yeah, so. It helps too when you take down the egg. So Alliance right now smoked into the jungle. They want to get They don't have the Aegis, but this is still a kind of tricky, nice time where they can maybe isolate someone, and it looks like it's going to be Hanskin.
Yeah. Hanskin, he may actually lose a large number of his creeps as well. One goes down, perhaps a second one. Yeah, they actually get all of them.
That's nice the bigger trade of getting the Chen.
Yeah.
That if you got any other support hero there, you'd be probably okay with that if you're NIP. But it's the fact that you just lost so many creeps in a row.
Yeah, and it takes so much time for the Chen to be able to build that back up. And even then, they are not the optimal creeps. They're going to be able to take this tier 1 tower. Look at Alliance, though. Mass TP's out. Loda's coming in with the haste rune, but both of these heroes are just so mobile. Seems unlikely. Now you're going to be able to take them down. Jonas Fun is here, making sure that Era does get out. That'll happen without a problem. The Storm Spirit also TPing away. Unfortunately, Alliance, that's just another rotation. NiP, I think, are doing a really great job at showcasing, I think, one of their greatest strengths is they know when to play back. Mad is actually going to be caught here, glimpsed into the same area, still underneath the counter ward, though. Manages to get outside of it. And Mad will end up surviving, just barely.
That's the strength of the tree. You just go invisible and do laps around the jungle to scout for people. And there is an Orchid reveal on the Storm Spirit with 1,300 gold on top of that. So Alliance have to be really careful. And you know what, too? You can actually Yules the Lina as you come down from the Yules. So when she Yuleses you, instead of trying to zip away, just Yules her and kill her. She goes for the one-on-one kill.
Fair enough. Chen going to be targeted here. They know most of the Alliance members are too far away from the Chen to be able to save him. Ake cancels his stun, just throws out the lightning. RP onto 2. Jonas Fun does not have enough for a skewer. He needs to pop the wand. Now gets the skewer onto 3. That's a beautiful setup with the Static Storm over the top, but there's still no follow-up from the rest of NiP. They slow down these heroes, but all of a sudden, you look at Ninjas and Pajamas, and it seems like they're just out of steam. In fact, they're losing heroes bottom lane. Era manages to get the kill on the Phoenix and still gets away from Pycat, who blew his Laguna Blade, it seems, to try and get that kill on the Juggernaut.
Honestly, that felt like a bit of a misstep by NIP in terms of coordination, because he RPs 3, and then he skewers them out of the kinetic field, and subsequently the Static Storm isn't able to hold in one position.
Yeah.
And I feel like if that combination lands, they are almost able to 10 times out of 10 get 2 kills there, but a little bit of a misstep by NIP. I think they just got over-eager trying to save the Chen. And your Storm wasn't there as well. Like, they were fighting at bottom, and so a little bit of a miscommunication, I feel. But, I mean, if you're NIP, you're still hoping for that one big RP.
Right.
If you get a 3-man RP with the Jug there, then things are fine. But Alliance are doing a good job of splitting off the map to make it difficult for them.
Yeah, certainly. They definitely know when to play. Like, there's 2 different times where I've watched Ninjas and Pajamas just disengage from Alliance and just stay away from them. Ninjas and Pajamas, that RP, though, is going to be such a big factor here. Especially with the Juggernaut being so overly farmed. If he actually finishes up his Scotty and has Empower on him, the Omni Slash is just going to single-handedly kill all the heroes in that RP.
So at top, Lim continuing to farm out. I mean, what do you go if you're him? Bloodstone, probably. You need some HP to deal with the Lina, who's got such a quick Aghanim Scepter right now. Like, if you just take a look, she's almost level 14. Before she even hits 14, she's got an Ag Scepter. So her killing the Storm by herself is really quite easy. And Limp is checking around the jungle right now, knows the Lina is somewhere around there. He's got Arrow with him as well.
675 pure damage. That... Actually, these supports are decently tanky. It's the Storm Spirit, who's actually he's tied with the squishiest on the team with the Chen.
Yeah, that's why I think he does need a Bloodstone at some point. But the Bristleback, he's got a BKB as well, so a lot of the damage being negated there, it just means the Omni Slash has to go on him.
Mad keeps running around, cruising as the Treant Protector. Spotting out Hanskin doing the jungle. They know there's only 2 heroes top, but again, how do you actually get these heroes? You do not have good lockdown to shut down these guys. Once you TP in, they're just going to run themselves away unless Lim tries to force the fight. Stun actually misses there. They do manage to get the stun onto Arrow, but he gets off the Omni Slash in time, trying to do as much damage as possible, but it's 2 split, and both of them will end up dying. RP onto 2, will manage to clean up Ake, but it's too late. Jonas Fun just feeds away an additional kill to Loda.
And at bottom as well, it looks like they might have isolated the Chen out. Yep, they're going to get a kill on him as well, and that's 4 down for the cost of Alesh, and you're definitely not satisfied if you're an IP. And it's like you said, there's no reason for them to fight there. Why not just disengage? You can spin away from the Jug, Or you can spin as the Jug because you know the tree's not there. Like, you see him at bottom, so there's no way to cancel that out. And the Storm, I mean, he had to have seen that Lina axe coming. That just blew him up. All he had to do, both of them just disengage, go to your bottom lane instead, try to fight that fight. Instead, they fight with 3 cores, and again, they're a little bit off target. Like, Jonas and Van hits the 3-man RP, but for what, right? You don't have the damage coming in from the Juggernaut or the Storm at that point.
Roshan, Alliance are going to sneak that one in. Ninjas and Pajamas, they just lost 2 really bad fights, one at top and one at bottom. And with Alliance now taking Roshan, that's going to be a huge net worth swing. You could see just even moments ago, Ninjas and Pajamas were a good 1,000+ gold ahead. And same kind of goes in experience, but now the exact opposite has occurred.
So with the Sagas now, Alliance have a good way to just force a team fight. Like, you don't... Like I said, something that they lack is strong initiation aside from the Yule's Lina, but you can just brute force now with this.
Overgrowth holding in Jonas Fan, and he's dead. He can try and get the blink off. Ooh, Pycat. They'll fight. There's no way Jonas gets away, so he'll be stunned up, nuked, down, and Ake is actually the one who claims the last hit there. So. But as you said, they'll actually force some fights here. Getting the pick off on the Magnus just ensures even more dominance for Alliance as they push down the Tier 2 tower. And I wouldn't be surprised that they go uphill because both Tier 2 middle and top are being pushed. There's 2 ways to deal with this. And I don't really like the option of them TPing back. I think they should just keep going.
Yeah, you are going to lose the top, but at this point it's a little bit too late to do anything about it. They popped the glyph, but it looks like rather than deciding to go back, like you said, they're perfectly content with that trade because they're going for the high ground and they know for a fact NIP won't push as fast as them.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at this point in time, like, if you're trying to defend both towers, chances are you're not going to defend the top tower, and you're going to be split up trying to defend the middle tower as well. Ninjas and Pajamas are going to keep on pushing, though. They don't want to fight into this Aegis. Tier 3 tower is already down, and now Alliance are going to back up, trying to defend this top tower, keep it alive for the living armor. But Era is keeping it going the left-hand side. Mad is pulled back. They found this pick-off, and they will take down the tree. Tier 3 tower stays alive, though. Alliance looking for additional kills. Magnus managed to get Ake there in the bottom lane, but we're going to follow this one. Hanskin not getting away. Laguna Blade to finish him off. Yule Scepter onto the Disruptor. The follow-up stun to get that kill as well. Lono will take it for Pycats, who couldn't get it at the time. And Era is now going to try and TP out. Should be fine.
Yeah, and Lina actually TPs back behind him to try to sandwich him in. But
I love that, though. It was because, like, Era... You want that Tier 3 tower, right? Up against a Train Protector, if you don't finish up the tower, especially a Tier 3 tower like that, 5 minutes from now, it's going to be completely healed.
Yeah, and that'll completely negate the push. And I like the fact that Alliance right there, yeah, you can trade that tower for a Tier 3 at bottom, but you have to go back at some point, right? Because you don't want to trade Raxes. Like, you're okay trading towers, but you don't want to trade Raxes at this point. And like you said, the tree armor heal, it'll pretty much negate everything. And it looks like actually he hasn't started doing that. He's got the Aghanim Scepter, and it looks like he's just prioritizing getting down Eyes in the Force, which I think is predominantly a little bit better.
Yeah, especially if you don't show yourself for a while. You know, if they don't realize you haven't Aghanims yet, they're not going to realize that, oh, we have Eyes in the Forest all over.
Yeah, and Pycat actually...
Yeah.
Nice got a Shadow Blade.
The Shadow Blade's doing so much work. It's already caught out 2 different heroes, and it looks like a third is Jonas. Yeah. Oh, no, the Chen heal just in time. Era, he can actually come in for the Omni Slash, but couldn't get in range.
Yeah, and Jonas and Fan's going to try to run away. Oh, don't be so greedy here. And yeah, he blinks away. I thought he was going to farm that for a second, and Mad was right behind him, and so was the rest of the Alliance squad, but not too bad for either team. Obviously, the Lina uses her ult, but the cooldown is so low that it's relatively negligible.
How long until the Aegis is down? It's they actually still got some good time, so Alliance can force this for another minute. That'll mean a free Tier 2 tower, no trade-off this time around. Bottom lane is already being protected by the Train Protector.
Yeah, and right now, Pycat just looking up for the solo kills right now. He's pinging out Era. Maybe he wants to try to go for this, but Shadow Blade time runs out. He's just going to force this lane back.
Seal Kid's like desperately trying to split push as much as possible, right?
He needs pressure on the map.
Yeah. But they don't want the straight-up fights. Ninjas and Pajamas are actually going to go for the 4-man smoke up. They know very likely that Alliance are rotating up to the top lane to catch out. In fact, they did see it. They had a ward right here, so they saw Ake. They could really use more than Ake, though.
Yeah, but who else do you get at this point?
Maybe
they might actually run into the Lina. They have to know about this now, too.
At the same time, they've already grabbed Nikwa with the Orchid. Should be able to finish him off. Just enough damage. Limp gets that 1 kill. Now Loda is coming in, takes out Seal Kid. Limp trying to stop him, but can't do much about it. Jump away. Going for Ake at the same time, though. In the background, Air's just going into Loda as best as possible. He's still got the Omni Slash, too.
Loda's getting
picked out
low
by Jonas, but not quite enough. Ake goes down. Loda, he's trying to feed away his Aegis at this point in time. Nice overgrowth from Mad. Controlling these heroes, waiting out life number 2 for Loda as he starts moving in. Era still has that Omni Slash ready to go. He's going to use it on Loda, but it just seems to do no damage whatsoever. Loda goes down to about half HP. Pycat caught out by the RP with Era's damage. They get the kill, and now Loda slowed down by that Scotty.
Era's got a Scotty.
Nice Force Staff. They get it. Loda ends up falling. Double kill for him, and Ninjas of Pajamas back in this game. In fact, dare I say it, ahead, as they're going to force out the buyback from the Bristleback just to defend this top tower.
Yeah, and that was just a really good fight overall by NIP. They made that go so long. Like, they just kited. They held the RP. They used it for the Lina at the last second. And, I mean, it was just an overall smart engagement by them. I think Alliance overextended a little bit because they thought they had the Bristleback with the Aegis, and he did, but at the same time, where's your damage coming from if you're Alliance at this point? Like, your damage doesn't really feel like it's entirely all the way there.
Yeah.
And so, whereas NIP, I mean, the Juggernaut, you just saw in a one-on-one fight where the Bristleback, with his back to him, was trying to get away, he ripped him apart with crits.
Yeah, it felt like with the Living Armor, he wasn't doing anything, and then all of a sudden the Living Armor went away, and he started getting criticals on the Jug. And it was just like crazy how much damage he's able to put out. The Juggernaut is just so far ahead of the Bristleback at this point. Like, I think that the fight, the point where Bristleback really becomes a true carry is with your second item, right? You first get the SNY. The BKB is a nice defensive choice, but it's your next offensive item, which in this case is going to be the Assault Cuirass instead of something like an Abyssal, which is usually the go-to. Assault Cuirass is just too strong with Bristleback. Too much synergy with the, well, now heavy amount of armor you're going to have versus the Juggernaut, but also the minus armor from your AC plus the goo.
And again, Loda, I mean, his Assault Cuirass is slowed down again. And like we saw last game, that meant doom for Alliance, but Alliance were doing so good before that fight at top. Like, they had taken the Aegis, they had gotten a lot of objectives out of it. They even saved that top. Like, look how much HP that top tower has. Like, it's actually their mid tower that is in desperate need of some heals.
Yeah, I was looking at it just not too long ago, and it was actually at half HP. Now it's completely healed up.
Tower is under attack.
So we are right back to the 0 marker in gold. Ninjas of Pajamas have evened this game out and are now ahead in experience. A back and forth game to be sure. And our next big fight gonna be all about Roshan. Possible Roshan spawning time up in about 30 seconds. I don't know what the actual time is. I missed it.
Era, he's got a Basher as well, and once he gets his Abyssal Blade, that's going to mean a dead Pycat every single time.
Right.
And is there a Ghost Scepter on anybody on Alliance? I think
there is one on
the left track.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You don't have anything on the Phoenix that really protects you. I mean, you've got a lot of armor, great, but you have no armor or HP to back that out as well, and so magic damage being the name of the game, that's going to kill him so quickly. You guys, 1200 HP. It's not a whole lot.
Everyone's setting up for Roshan. They want to pick off, and Loda's already down to half health. Omni Slash bouncing around, but it's not quite enough. He goes to the Phoenix mid-dive, and that kills the Omni Slash. Now Loda pops the BKB. He will get out Supernova at the same time. Nip will actually turn to go for this one. Supernova not going to last long against all of that. Chen gets taken out by Pycat with a Laguna Blade. Double Invis goes out. They will actually survive. Limp with no vision. And actually put a stop to that one.
Yeah, that was just the Phoenix thinking that the rest of his team was close enough, and man, if that Juggernaut ultimate had only hit the Bristleback there, that could have just been a free Roshan and possibly the game right now for NIP.
Assault Cuirass now finished up for the Bristleback. Dead Phoenix dive. It actually, you move so fast that you disjoint Omni Slash.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You can actually Phoenix dive away from Omni Slash, and it'll stop. It basically, like, it'll hit you once, maybe 2 times mid-dive, and then it actually disjoints you.
Man, that's so broken. They really need a nerf Phoenix and buff Jug. I feel like that's the answer here.
Yeah, clearly. You know, some fun. Okay, never mind. They're just going to go for the pickoff.
Seal Kid is so low.
He's such an easy kill to get. Overgrowth pop by Mad, but doesn't actually catch much. RP just on one, but Arrow's coming in with the extra bit of damage. Storm Spirit on top of Mad as well. Loda already low enough. He's got the invisibility trying to get away, but away from the trees, and he will be revealed. Ake up next. And Nikwa sitting on the side, not much he can do. Well, Shiva's actually that does a good amount of damage. Ake's going to turn this with Pike after they finish off the Storm Spirit. But Era, he's got the sustained damage that everybody needs to worry about, and Nikwa does not have an escape. Should be picked off. Yule Scepter.
He's going to try to go high.
Nikwa, no, he tried to do it. He tried to get the Sun Ray over the cliff, but the nuke out from the Chen, that pure damage, just too much to handle.
Yeah, that's actually going to mean a Roshan now for NIP, and all of a sudden, I mean, NIP, they really turned this game around. In the beginning, it looked kind of rough for them, and you're going to see that reflected in the net worth. 3,000 at one point ahead for Alliance, and they've almost brought it back to 0, and with this Roshan as well, I think they're going to take the advantage. This is going to be their first Rosh of the game. Wait, was it? Yeah, it's the first Rosh of the game.
Yeah, we've had very awkward Roshan fights so far, but you're right. The third Roshan goes to them. Cheese for Hanskin. Era will now get an Aegis and has no problem investing the bit of gold that he has into an Abyssal Blade because who needs buyback?
Yeah. I meant, did I say the first Roshan of the game? I meant the first Roshan of the game for NIP, yeah.
For NIP.
So the Cheese on the Storm Spirit as well, one of the better items to pair with him. Cheese goes best with Storm. But
would you rather have the Aegis or the Cheese on Storm?
I mean, if I'm greedy, I would take the Aegis, but he's going to actually go on Pycat, who's getting quite low. Pops the Yules on himself. This is going to mean a dead Pycat, or is it?
No. He's out of the counter ward. Hanskin lays down another one. They can still see Pycat, but he's hiding in the trees. Oh, he gets away.
He actually was so close to getting away, but does get killed there in Era.
If only he'd run straight down.
Yeah.
You know, just distance away from the Chen.
Did they actually even have a way to spot him out at that point? No.
No, they didn't. It was just counter wards. So if he didn't run into a dead end, essentially.
Yeah. But he does, and Era is pushing out this tower, and look at his item progression. It's just been great. He's got an Abyssal Blade as well. Alliance falling a little bit behind in farm now, if you just take a look at the net worth. All of a sudden, the biggest lead of this game was like 4K, but now it's actually going the way of NIP in this regard.
Yep, things looking good. Storm Spirit's got the BKB up on Ninjas in Pajamas with the Cheese in hand. This is actually going to be a very effective Storm Spirit. Because again, like, how can they really shut him down? It's going to be the Yule Scepter into stun, but the BKB cancels that out.
Yeah, with the Cheese as well, if you're Alliance, don't take this fight. Because this is the better, this is maybe the best Cheese carrier in Dota. And with the BKB as well, it just doubles the effectiveness. It means that he doesn't get bursted down, and he'll actually be able to get the Cheese off and the full effectiveness of it. The only way Alliance stop that at this point is if somebody on their team is somewhat close to a Hex. And the Lina kind of is, but she opts to actually go for the Boots of Travel, maybe opting to just split up now. And she's still got the treads as well for the DPS.
Mad. He just popped his Overgrowth, and I'm watching his net worth rise.
Yeah, and actually atop Seal Kid. Looks like he's the target. Pycat setting up for the blind stun from the Shadow Blade. He's got to be careful, though. Arrow's coming in as well.
We need to Yule Scepter Air if he wants to be able to get out. His movement speed is not going to be enough by itself. Shadow Blade up in just 6 seconds. Pycat juking through the trees, gets hit. Abyssal Blade. Pycat couldn't get out. Oh, no! Scepter. He gets it up. Shadow Blade is almost up. He can get it away, but Jonas with the Shockwave right on top. No chance of an escape there for Pycat. If only he'd gotten the Yule Scepter off on the Juggernaut, he would have been good.
Yeah, he was fast enough to run out of that, but still, good pick off on the Disruptor, and an even better pick off by Era. You know, he's following through with it, and a good move. I think the Lina actually didn't expect that Abyssal Blade, and he just didn't see that it was coming, and so Era pushing down right now with the Magnus and Power. And it feels like, I mean, NIP, it wasn't even like they were behind by that much, but especially at that bottom fight, if you notice that their bottom racks has been taken by just passive play this game by the creeps.
Era. Slowed down by the Fire Spirits. He's still got Manta if necessary, but no need to blow it too early. On the side, we do have Mad, who's trying to set up for good Overgrowth. But this is pretty much do or die right now, and it's going to start out with die. Mad, he's going to be picked off here by the Orchid Storm Spirit. The rest of the fights, not really forced by Alliance. Not much they can do. They needed their Lina. And now, in the process of waiting for the Lina, they've lost another hero.
They don't have buyback as well on the tree, so it's not like this isn't going to matter. Free racks for NIP. I think they'll just back out and be happy with that, and maybe even wait for an overextension by Alliance right now. And Loda's actually looking real aggressive right now, but he has to be careful. There is the RP and the skewer available on the Magnus.
At the same time, if they don't head back soon, they're going to lose their melee racks.
Yeah, and the creeps are forming up. This actually, I don't even think they notice at this point.
I don't think so either. They popped the glyph. They're like, oh, Jesus. We're actually going to lose our melee racks, but they can't get back in time, so melee racks down.
Alliance trade because their creeps are stronger. They do send the storm back, so everybody in NIP has to
Who says range
out.
racks doesn't matter?
It doesn't if that happens.
Yeah, that's what it does if the push actually allows you to get the melee racks. All right. 24-18, 41 minutes in. Not bad. Alliance just stall out the game and somehow get a victory through creeps. A small one, but a victory nonetheless.
Pycat looking for the Shadow Blade setup. He needs to hit the stun from Fog, though, and he does. This should mean his life.
Pick off, and this time around, there's no Era to chase him down.
Yeah, and that's he doesn't want to use the Yules there, just because the Magnus has a BKB.
Right, yeah.
So he just sets up with the Shadow Blade.
And it's the exact reason why we see so much Shadow Blade on Lina, because at a certain point you're dealing with so many BKBs, you have to hit the...
From the Fog.
Yeah,
from Loda.
Loda, oh my god, he just gets blown up. Supernova, well that's gone. The stun, nope. Pycat and Ake realize their stuns are going to do nothing, but Ake, the one visible, is going to be caught. At the same time, Limp doesn't have a gem. He can actually chase down Pycat. We know our Rainbow Pony is dead. Pycat does manage to get out, though. Yule Scepter onto the Storm Spirit, and Limp did not have the mana to continue that chase. Still, though, great fight for Ninjas in Pajamas, and this is one of those all-in pushes, I think, at this point. They could just take the ranged racks and probably go for a second set of racks, and Alliance will be forced to defend with their very lives.
Yeah, and the buyback is available on the Bristleback. Yeah, it is, and he's got gold on top of that. So it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but in a situation where you're ready behind, then life becomes a little bit hard. Era has to be careful here. Yeah, if you get caught out by the stun and the Laguna Blade, things get a little bit dangerous. The Healing Ward is going to get taken down, and you have to be careful.
Limp jumps in on Pycat, Overgrowth controlling, but Era pops out with a Manta and just keeps on sending those illusions out for the Tier 3 tower. Ninjas Pajamas, they've already won this. They do not need to take more of an engagement. They got the range racks, almost finished off the Tier 3 again. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah,
and what was... oh, he killed one of the creeps.
Yeah, he's just using it for the creep.
Yeah.
I mean, you're okay with that if you're Alliance too, though. You don't... Was the buyback forced? I don't believe so. Yeah, no buyback was forced. Loda respawns naturally, and you only lose a range racks. So, net okay for Alliance. Obviously, when you say stuff like that, it doesn't mean that that's a good thing for Alliance.
It doesn't mean Alliance won, but it means it could have been so much worse. Considering the fact that they're down and out, the fact that they didn't straight up lose the game is good.
Yeah, holding racks there
bye-bye, Seal Kid. Left, right, oh god, uphill miss!
Oh, if he uphill missed again, that's kind of one of the things that you would complain to your team about what just happened.
Yeah. Alliance, by the way, that's actually a very important pick-off. Seal Kid will still get the Aghanim Scepter by the time he comes up, most likely. You know, he just farms up a couple creeps, but it does stall it up. It does stall up the Aghanim's Disruptor upgrade.
Yeah, and the better thing that does, too, is that it lets Pycat, you know, it opens up the map and it slows down whatever timings NIP had. For example, if NIP wanted to get aggressive or they wanted to prepare for a Roshan or anything like that, that stops it in its tracks because you don't want to get into a 4v5 fight at this point in the game.
Anything is good for Alliance if it stalls up the game. In a way.
Yeah, for sure. And Era, I mean, he's got a Butterfly now and 29 HP on top of that. They have to be really concerned about how monstrous he is. And Jonas and Fan as well, he's got his Refresher Orb. That's pretty much all you need on Magnus. Blink Refresher, BKB.
Shiva's on the Storm Spirit as well. Aghanim soon on Seal Kid. It is up, in fact. Aghanim's is going to be built by Hanskin, but that's still a ways away.
Oh, and Pycat actually tried to get aggressive on Limp at bottom, but Limp realizing that there's probably somebody with him there, and they're actually pinging out mid saying maybe Loda's off by himself, which he is.
Roshan is up. Alliance don't think they can take this.
It'd be so scary for them. If they lost that Rosh fight, the game would be kind of over, I think.
Yeah. Need to get some more trees up, Mad. He actually already blows the overgrowth there. That's kind of odd. He doesn't have a refresher yet, so feels a little bit questionable.
You do have a Hex, though, on your Lina, which is something you absolutely need to kill a Juggernaut.
Yeah. These magic immunities are just too tough to handle. Looks like they're just going to give up Roshan.
Yeah, and Limp.
So, whoa, long jump. It's going to be able to grab Nikwa and perhaps get Mad as well. The Ghost Scepter helps out Nikwa for the time being. Dive away and gets enough distance. Limp is going to turn on to Mad instead.
Yeah, Nikwa actually,
never
he's
mind,
going to get caught out.
That was beautiful, Jonas. He skewered forward and got the vision. Oh, no, it wasn't that. It was actually the ward in middle.
Yeah, and they were actually able to get the kill on him, and that's actually so huge. Looks like they're going for this top push out now. Is there a buyback on the Treant? Yes, and he uses it immediately before anything even happens. And Era, he's going to get stunned out, but he has the healing ward up as well as the Aegis. Not too afraid of anything, and this should mean 1 racks down at minimum right now for Alliance.
Stun on a 2, Seal Kit. They're going to blow
He's
the BKB to
solo.
control him. Static Storm gets splayed out before he dies, and Lona is actually not going to be able to get that kill. Now the stun onto Ake. Jonas managed to get the 2-man RP, cleans up the rest of Alliance, and Lona's still left in the question of, like, what do I do? Well, the answer is die to the Juggernaut.
Yeah, and he's going to buy back, and if he dies again, that would actually just mean the game. Era's being so tanky right now.
RP number 2 is ready to go. And Loda now bashed up with his face towards Era, is in some serious trouble as Jonas comes in.
He's trying to get the RP.
Yeah, no, glimpse back is good enough. Loda now trying to turn the other direction. Missed RP out from Jonas. Spent so much time trying to fake it out and get it, but
I don't even think it's going to matter.
It doesn't matter with two deaths there.
Oh, and Limp's going to actually come in as well for Pycat, and Jonas and Van isn't even going to die. This should mean the game now, and the egg goes off. Yeah. The celebratory egg. GG.
Celebratory or...
It's like, yay!
Yay, we lost the game.
I lived.
And that will spell the end. Ninjas in pajamas. 2-0 Alliance.
Yeah, and MLG, they got third. Now they're 2-0ing Alliance, and it didn't even look very hard for them. Like, I know the last game looked kind of close at times, but they held a 30k lead for the most part. And in this game as well, I mean, now you've got the advantage over Alliance. I think Corey said that it was dead even before last game, and now in terms of records, NIP take the lead.
Yep. Now 4-3 total record to Ninjas in Pajamas. Congratulations. They I was gonna say they needed that. I think they did actually need that. Their standings in the D2CL were pretty bad. I think they were like 3-9 or something. They were 4-8 before this. So now they jump up to 6-8. Maybe they keep themselves in with that win, with that 2-0. I'm not sure. But Alliance now dropped to a 5-7, so they also need another win themselves to keep themselves in the game. But yeah, that brings the end to our broadcast. Ninjas in Pajamas, 2-0 Alliance in the D2CL.
Good job by them.
Good job by us. Doing the casting. Did you have fun, Blitz?
Yeah, I had a really good time. All right, let's wrap up the broadcast.
All right.
So we can, I'm going to eat now.
Okay. Blitz needs to eat. I need to go home. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow. We are actually starting out at 10 a.m. Hope you guys will join us for more of the VP game, as that is actually the losers bracket and some other ESL matches, ESL 1 matches as well. Hope you guys will join us for all of that. Thanks for tuning in.